This is Anthony, and for whatever reason, he wants to get a job in sales. So being the good friend that I am, I helped him get one of the hardest sales jobs ever, selling into dental practices. And over the next few weeks, I'm gonna help Anthony book his first sales appointment. Because in sales, if you don't perform, then you lose your job, which will make me look like an arsehole for recommending him for this job, and it'll put him back on the job market. So in order to give Anthony the best chance of success, we'll have to tick off these 5 things. Number 1, he'll need to understand who he's selling to. He'll need to understand the pain points and problems that dental practices often face and how he can speak to them. Number 2, he'll need leads, and lots of them. Number 3, he'll need a solid sales cadence, sequence, follow-up process in order to keep reaching out to these leads. Number 4, he'll need to understand how to make a great cold call and deal with gatekeepers, because in dental practices, there are a lot of them. And number 5, sadly, he'll need to get rejected a lot, over and over and over again, until someone says yes. The things that Anthony is actually going to be selling are twofold. The first is an app called Optio TV that dentists can plug into the TV that sits in their waiting room to showcase facilities, awards, different services, and even incentivize current patients to make referrals to their friends. The second is more digital marketing related, focusing on SEO, website design, custom content creation, those types of things. So let's get into it. So during Anthony's first week, the most important thing for me was to make sure that he had the materials he was going to need to be successful in the role. I don't think you should throw sellers into the deep end, but I also don't think you should wait too long to get them on the phones talking to customers. But before that happens, I do believe it is really important to understand who you're selling to and the problems that you can help them solve with your solution. So in order to do that, I shared a list of resources that I wanted Anthony to look at. These were not product tutorials, this was not product training, this was more for Anthony to get an understanding of the problems that dental practices care about, the way they talk about these problems, the resources that they learn from, and the language they use when they're discussing their practice and their businesses. So the first 2 days were spent almost entirely on this, looking at case studies that the company had worked with in the past, looking through the CRM, notes as to why people had ended up buying, looking at the pricing structure, and consuming things like podcasts, YouTube videos, and reading documents that dentists tend to look to educate themselves. While this was going on, I also wanted to make sure that Anthony wasn't going to have to run into any problems that he couldn't control, like email deliverability and setting up a CRM. So his boss and I set up a instantly email warm-up campaign, getting 2 domains ready for him that he could rotate in and out of. We also opted to use HubSpot for dialing, CRM, sequencing, because it's an all-in-one tool, and for an early stage company, I'm always of the belief that less tools is better. Now, once he'd done all that, he was going to take a day out of the office and spend a couple of days with me at my house so we could figure out a few things like the sequence writing, the email frameworks and templates, and practice some cold calling together. When it came to the sequence, I wanted it to be super simple and use a trigger-based outreach. So observe something about them up front and then allude to a problem that they might be having as a result of what you'd seen up front. Dental practices in North America have this thing called the FAGD and the MAGD award, I think. So what we decided to do was scrape a list of all the people who had won this award recently and use that as the intro point and the reason for our emails and our calls. The thought being that if people care about these awards, then they probably also care about marketing their business and showcasing these awards on the TV that actually goes in their waiting room. Once we'd nailed down a couple of different emails, and I wanted to make sure these were A/B tested because I've never sold to dentists before, so we really wanted to give our best shot of seeing what works best. We then went into writing a cold call script. It was at this point that Anthony and I did a bit of role playing to see what was working and what felt the most organic.
Can I ask you a bit of a weird question? Sure. Thank you, I appreciate it. So here's the question. Are you in the waiting room right now, by the way?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Is there a TV in there?
Once we were pretty comfortable with the script and had refined it a little bit, written it down, we decided to make some cold calls. Now, Anthony hasn't done a ton of cold calls before, and I know cold calling can be one of the most nerve-wracking things about sales. So rather than throwing him on the deep end, I decided to make some calls myself to prove it out and also showcase that it isn't as intimidating as it seems.
Good afternoon, this is Danielle from Cleveland Dental Care.
Oh, hey Danielle. I was actually hoping to speak to Benjamin. Is he about?
May I get the first and last name?
Yeah, it's Will Aiken. I have a bit of a weird question. I was going to ask Ben, but maybe you can help me out. Are you in the waiting room right now?
Yes.
Is there a TV in there?
No.
There's not?
No.
Okay, that was literally all I was actually calling about to find out.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sperlozzi's office.
Oh, hey there. I was actually hoping to speak with Andrew. Who have I got?
What can I help you with?
I appreciate it. Well, I have a bit of a weird question. Maybe you could help me out. What's your name, sorry?
What can I help you with? What are you calling in regards to?
Well, I was wondering if you have a TV in your waiting room over there. Fuck. All right.
Dr. Tesoro's office, this is Adriana.
Oh, hey there, Adriana. It's Will. I was hoping you might be able to help me out.
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering, it's a bit of a weird question, hope you don't mind. Is there a TV in your waiting room?
There is not.
There isn't? Oh, crikey. Not my lucky day. Is there a reason that there isn't one in there, or is just,
Not for any reason that I know of.
I spoke to probably 4 or 5 different dental offices, and I won't lie, these gatekeepers are ruthless. If they even get the slightest sniff of the fact that this is a cold call or something similar to what they'd heard before, they shut you down so quickly. Now, I did have some success securing a follow-up call and a time to call back and gathering some information, and I figured that one of the best things we could do while speaking to these gatekeepers was do exactly that. Try and get a referral, a time that the dentist would be available, or gather some information that could better inform our email follow-ups. Once I'd done a couple of calls, it was time for Anthony to take a swing at it, and I won't lie, his first call was somewhat painful.
Miles Savara speaking. How can I help you?
Hi, can I get your name again?
Elvira.
Elvira, weird question here. I was wondering, could you help me out here for a moment?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was wondering if you could help me out here for a moment.
Yep, of course.
Yeah, Elvira, do you guys have, by any chance, have a TV in your waiting room?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do you guys by any chance have a TV in your waiting room?
In the waiting room? Yeah.
Okay, so what usually plays on the TV? Like, what's playing on right now?
I'm sorry, what are you trying to sell something?
Completely understand. No, I'm not trying to sell anything. Potentially, yes, but I'm just curious to find out if there's a TV in the waiting room. I've been reaching out to a couple of dentists who we've been working with to stop playing like any stuff that doesn't help them and put on stuff that actually might potentially help them. So I'm trying to see if that's something that you guys are looking at.
No, we're okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Completely understand. By any chance, Elvira,
Bye.
However, you can't get good unless you get practice. I'm proud of him picking up the phone, doing it in front of a live audience, being me, and being so willing to just make the calls right off the bat. That's one of the hardest skills in sales, just being willing to put yourself out there and make the cold calls in the first place. Naturally, I gave him some feedback and we took another swing at things. From there, Anthony returned to the office and kept making calls without me. With that said, I had a HubSpot license so I could listen to his calls and give comments and feedback on his calls from there. We also set up a frequent one-on-one, and over time, I was listening to these calls and I could just hear that Anthony was so much more comfortable, confident, and was even trying new things that I hadn't even thought of on the phones. Now, finally, Anthony was able to book his first meeting with a dentist practice. He was able to call at a time that the dentist was available and the gatekeeper was out, and that changed his approach going forward as well. Here's a quick sample so you can hear how that call went. Now, from there, Anthony quickly realized that talking to gatekeepers was not the winning move. Instead, he learned that talking to office managers or the dental practice owner, which is often the dentist themselves, was a much more successful play. So he changed the times at which he was calling, and if he did reach a gatekeeper, he would ask when the dentist was actually going to be free themselves. He prioritized calling at those times, and he tweaked his emails. So far, the emails haven't seen a great deal of success, and it's mainly because the data we have available to us is actually normally a shared email that's run by the office manager or receptionist at the dental practice, which means those emails are very rarely reaching the intended audience and are often just getting deleted or archived. In the couple of weeks after Anthony was able to book his first meeting, he was also able to then go ahead and book meetings with more dentists by speaking directly with them. So he's going to be doubling down that strategy going forward, and I just listened to his calls. I'm so proud of all the progress he's made. I think it really highlights that all the training in the world can't make you as good as picking up the phone, having conversations, and experimenting with new things. He's even taken the initiative of going into dental practices in person, talking to receptionists, getting his face out there, going in and shaking hands, which he's seen mixed success with because he's been able to learn and just have good conversations that enable him to put a face to their name, and he's a lovely guy to talk to, so I'm not surprised that's been the case. Anthony and I continue to catch up on one-on-ones and via Google Chats, and seeing his confidence build over the last few weeks has been incredible, and I can't take any credit for any of it. All I did was point him in the right direction, but him going out there and being willing to jump in at the deep end really highlights that is probably one of the most important sales skills, is just putting yourself out there. So whilst you can get coaching, you can watch videos like this one, you can look out for other resources, the one thing I'd tell you to do is not subscribe to the Sales Feed newsletter or channel. You can do that, but go out there and do the work yourself, because nothing makes you better than practice. Peace.